Welcome to the Stop and Think series. I'm Will Markham. It's a series dedicated to training so that you can dissect all the BS on your own. And lesson number 4 is on dehumanization equals proof of propaganda. We'll begin this lesson with a quote by Aldous Huxley. The propagandist's purpose is to make one set of people forget that certain other sets of people are human. Now, what is dehumanization? Dehumanization is a process, a psychological warfare process, where a specific person or group is targeted and systematically is painted, slowly but surely, as less than human. For example, they might be painted as savages, or painted as unable to reason, or painted as not having basic moral virtues, or degraded down to a faceless number. Or they might be portrayed as a dangerous monster, or painted as genetically inferior, or painted as a different species altogether. And after extended periods of time, the end result is a severe form of prejudice.
You see, we human beings are not born with prejudices. Always they are made for us, made by someone who wants something. Remember that when you hear this kind of talk. Somebody is going to get something out of it, and it isn't going to be you.
So why do these propagandists create these prejudices? Because they know that if they can successfully dehumanize an opponent, they don't even need to win any arguments they've already won. Because once a person decides they hate someone, everything they do is viewed as offensive or suspicious. Everything they do, even if it's a good thing, will be seen in a negative light. It's a way to bypass rationality with irrationality. And in severe cases of dehumanization, not only will they refuse to listen to the dehumanized, but they will not even care if they suffer or die. You can't have genocide without dehumanization. And I would even go so far to say that you can't even have war without some forms of dehumanizing.
Well, a lot of things have happened since the last time I saw you. Just want to talk a little bit about that war in the Persian Gulf. Big doings in the Persian Gulf. You know my favorite part of that war? It's the first war we ever had that was on every channel plus cable. And the war got good ratings too, didn't it? Got good ratings. Well, we like war. We like war. We're a warlike people. We like war because we're good at it. And you know why we're good at it? Because we get a lot of practice. This country's only 200 years old, and already we've had 10 major wars. We average a major war in this country every 20 years, so we're good at it. And it's a good thing we are. We're not very good at anything else anymore. Can't build a decent car, can't make a TV set or a VCR worth the fuck. Got no steel industry left, can't get health care to our old people, can't educate our young people, but we can bomb the shit out of your country, all right? Huh? We can bomb the shit out of your country, all right? Especially if your country is full of brown people. Oh, we like that, don't we? That's our hobby. That's our new job in the world, bombing brown people. Iraq, Panama, Grenada, Libya, you got some brown people in your country, tell them to watch the fuck out, or we'll goddamn bomb them. But when's the last white people you can remember that we bombed? Can you remember the last white, can you remember any white people we've ever bombed? The Germans are the only ones, and the only reason for that is because they were trying to cut in on our action. They wanted to dominate the world. Bullshit, that's our fucking job. That's our fucking job. Now we only bomb brown people. Not because they're trying to cut in on our action, just because they're brown.
Now, the process of dehumanization is very simple and subtle. You see, all you have to do is persistently cast them in a negative light. which develops slowly but surely in the minds of the audience into an enemy image of your opponent. And what happens next is the scary part, because it's not our logic or reason that takes over, it's our emotions that take over. We are emotional creatures, and we have the tendency to attach our emotions to people. Because once the mind subconsciously decides that they are the enemy, the negative emotions start developing on their own. Feelings of distrust, fear, anger, and hate. So the propagandist doesn't have to convince you of an enemy. All they have to do is paint the enemy over and over. And for the average person, their emotions will follow. Now, there are 4 phases of what happens with a dehumanizing propaganda. The first phase is where people start seeing the target group as different or less. Now, stop and think for a moment. What this means is that if you or someone you know thinks they're better than another person just because of that other person's demographics, then it means that they've swallowed some propaganda in their life. The next phase, phase 2, is when they just don't care about what those other people think. This is when a person refuses to listen to someone else just because of their demographics. Now, you may think this prejudiced behavior is absolutely crazy, but it's still very prevalent in our society today. Whether it's the, oh, women are crazy, who cares what they have to say, or the, here comes the mansplaining, watch out, or the, oh, he's just a Trump supporter, like he's going to have anything intelligent to say, or the, these liberal lunatics are hopeless. Now, keep in mind there's nothing wrong with not listening to someone because of their behavior, but to refuse to listen to someone just because of their demographics, that's messed up. Phase 3 is when they view the target group as the enemy. This phase is when the dehumanization propaganda has fully gone into effect in the person. They've gone into full us versus them mode. And this phase is when the hate groups start forming and recruiting. And this severe prejudice just might stay with them for the rest of their lives. Phase 4 is when things get ugly and violent. This is when they've been fully hardened and they just don't care if the target group suffers. This is where you get the hate crimes. This is also where you get the terrorist attacks and also the lynchings. This is where you get the hate groups mobilizing to target certain demographics. And when a government is behind this propaganda, this phase is where you get the apartheid regimes, this is where you get the ethnic cleansing, and this is when you get genocide. And nobody cares, because the propaganda has infected their minds and hearts. It's time we stop hate by stopping the source of hate. And the source of all hate comes from fear propaganda. This finishes lesson 4. Please share this video and help stop the source of hate.